Hello, welcome to the Context Needed podcast. We've got episode 3. Again, joined with Ryan and Ollie. If you want to say hello, guys.
Hello.
Hello, guys.
There's always one, of course.
Dad,
Of course.
Shut up.
Nice dad
yeah.
joke. So, today we're just going to get straight into the topic. Got no little stories really for the beginning. But it's a topic that I really wanted to talk about, which is basically games or media that you enjoy that is considered not good. So, I mean, I'll start off because it's the subject I want to talk about, and for me, I'll start off with a game just because it's the easiest one to start off with, and it's Resident Evil 6. So, there's a lot of fans out there that love the Resident Evil series. They love Resident Evil 2, 3, 4 is considered one of the greatest games ever, but none of the fans really like Resident Evil 6. And I've never understood why, because it's one of the greatest and stupidest, most amazing games I've ever fucking played. There's no game in the world can you be super buff, serious military man that can dive around, shoot zombies, break necks, but you can slide down a child slide.
Yes! What more do you want?
And that rings with me because it's so good and in depth, and it's one of those games where, like, most games you have to like pay for so many different campaigns. This game's got 3 standard campaigns, a secondary campaign, loads of extra content. You can get it for like 15 quid now, and it's like, if you sink all your time into it, you could easily get like 80 hours out of this £15 game, which apparently is dog shit according to Metacritic.
It depends. It's like films. I mean, everyone like shits on Godzilla, Transformers, but everyone's going in for the wrong thing. Like, you get so many people that are, well, the acting was so poor in Transformers, though, wasn't it? I mean, Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox was really shit. It's like, it's Transformers.
Yeah, it's a Michael Bay popcorn flick.
It's Transformers. It is robots with big guns, and they transform into cars and fighter jets. I want to see explosions, man, and Michael Bay, he delivers. I mean, I don't go in there going, oh, I can't wait to see what happens with these characters. I'm like, I can't wait to see fucking Optimus Prime rip the spinal cord out of a fucking robot. That's what I want to see.
It's all about Megatron. Yeah. It was all about Hugo Weaving doing Megatron. And he does it so well. He does it so well.
The voice acting for those robots was very good.
It was very good. Who voiced Optimus Prime?
The original voice actor, James L. Jones, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's James L. Jones.
Yes, now I think about it, it does sound like him, yeah.
Because it's, I think one of my favourite lines in the first Transformers movie, it's always stuck with me, as to how megalomaniac Megatron is. And it's the bit where they both, Optimus and Megatron, fall off the roof, they land on the ground, he flicks Michael Bay, he's a purely human, flicks him, and then Optimus Prime says to him, "It's just me and you, Megatron," and instantly Megatron replies, "No, it's just me." It's just like, okay.
To be funnily, like, leading up to this, I was saying I couldn't think of any games I like. I guess I can think of one, actually, and that's Fallout 3. I think a lot of people do seem to shit on Fallout 3, especially compared to like New Vegas and stuff.
I rate 3 over New Vegas.
Yeah.
I think I would too.
The Fallout community is a bit of an ass, to be honest. I mean,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
None of them can really make their minds up. You've got factions within them, and a lot of them don't like certain games. Like, I know for a fact that everyone hates Fallout 4, but I really enjoyed it.
I understand why people were annoyed with 4, with things like the dialogue.
Yeah.
But at the same time, okay, yeah, they did take away the old dialogue system, but then they also gave your character actual words.
Yeah, that was good, but I think some of the things that bothered me about... I mean, 3 is my favourite one. I put so many hours into that.
Yeah,
and the main story was not very good, but that's not what I was in it for.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
Just a quick one. It wasn't actually the original voice actor of Optimus Prime.
Oh,
it was
not?
Peter Cullen. Peter Cullen did it.
I always thought it was the original.
I knew it wasn't him because I'd watched like a an interview somewhere. I just wanted to double check that.
No worries.
I thought I'd say it before somebody goes in the comments. Like, it's not him.
Yeah. So
crap.
if ever this is one thing that I need to say to people, because I've got a feeling some people, if they do watch this, think like we don't fact check or we don't check on things. If we get shit wrong and we get called up on it, we are going to check up on what we've got wrong. We're not the kind of people to go, oh no, we know this. It's like, no, I'm going to look at the fucking sources and I'm going to make sure I'm
Well, tell
saying
us if we do get something wrong.
I want to make sure I'm getting it right.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, anyway.
But no,
you go, Ollie.
For me, with Fallout, like I really did enjoy Vegas, and I think the main story was better. I think like some of the writing was better in New Vegas, and it was also you could play Vegas without VATS as well, which was something was quite difficult in 3. Like you basically had to use VATS the whole time in 3. But I much preferred like the kind of ambience of 3.
Yeah,
it felt more. It did actually feel more like a city after a nuclear war. And granted, 4 did nail that vibe quite well too, but I think 3 got it really good, and it also had a reasonable amount. And something I absolutely fucking love in games is horror elements in non-horror games.
Yes,
like creepy stuff in games that otherwise aren't horror. So you're not. It catches you off guard. Like I don't know if you can remember the Dunwich building in Fallout 3.
See, I never actually knew about that. I never knew about that building until I watched a video afterwards, and then I went there, and I think I went in, did a few bits, and then I instantly fucking noped out of there because I'm not a horror guy.
When you don't know about it, when you just stumble upon it, because obviously it's one of those games where once you've done a fair few quests, you'll probably just go have a run around, see what you can find in buildings, get resources, and I just happened to stumble upon it, and I absolutely love that kind of thing. I'm trying to think of other games where there were like kind of creepy horror elements in a game. Otherwise, I guess like I think Skyrim probably had some.
Skyrim had a few of them.
Ones, not as many, I would say.
I think moving on to actually Skyrim. One thing that I always find funny is everyone says Skyrim is better than Oblivion. I completely disagree.
I think there's very mixed bag with that one though.
I don't know.
People who say Oblivion better.
Yeah, I hear a lot on Morrowind.
Well, the thing is that Skyrim was my introducing game to the Elder Scrolls series, so that's always going to be like my all-time favourite.
Yeah, I think this is the thing. From my perspective of the people that I've spoke to and the things that I've seen, people rate Skyrim over Oblivion unless it's people from the old guard who played like Morrowind and stuff. Then obviously everyone rates Morrowind over it. But I thought Morrowind was broken and not fun to play at all personally. But Oblivion was my fucking jam. I spent countless hours in that.
Morrowind is actually impossible to play. I downloaded it. I was like, do you know what? I bought Morrowind and Oblivion. I was like, I'll get both of them. And I got on Morrowind. I was just like, what the fuck is this? I'm going to hit this guy. And he's just like, nah, nothing's happening. I'm like,
nah, mate.
Look at this. I can see it like connecting with him, but it's not doing any damage. And like, if you picked a specific trait, you had to use that specific item. Otherwise, you had like literally 0% chance. But then even when you choose the right item, you only had like fucking 10% chance. So you're just there fucking whacking away with this big pole arm and fuck all was happening. He's like, I give up. So I ended up just uninstalling it. I mean, I was like, I would have modded it if I could, like, it was good, but I didn't want to have to sit there and find mods that fix the game.
Yeah, I think the one thing that got to me with Morrowind was the flying enemies. Because obviously in Oblivion, you don't have flying enemies, and in Skyrim, the only flying enemies you have are the dragons, and they're fucking big, so they're easy enough to attack when they're flying.
And they land anyway. So.
Yeah.
And they land,
Yeah. In Morrowind, you've got these fucking little pterodactyl-like flying enemies that were just so goddamn infuriating, and you'd just be running from like one town to the next, just moving to the next quest, and then all of a sudden you just say, your character getting hurt, and you turn around, the fuck, and then you just look up and it's just his nutsack on your face.
Teabag by this little fucking bat.
Oh man, yeah. I think going back to like Skyrim and Oblivion, it sucks because I was introduced I'm like Ryan. Skyrim was my first Elder Scrolls game as well. I knew about Oblivion, to be fair. I remember way before I even had like an Xbox 360. I remember I went to a mate's house and he had Oblivion and he showed me a little bit. I remember he was saying how like, oh, if you kill this person, they're dead forever, and like I almost couldn't comprehend that at the time.
Yeah.
But like, it's a shame because it's now a bit old and dated. That it's kind of. I can't play it now, and it won't be as good as it would have been to people back then. So it's kind of a hard one. But I wish I'd played it back in its kind of glory days, because I can understand how it was really good, and it's still clear that it's good. But like, I can't go back to it now.
It's one of those games. Like I kind of go into like Skyrim, and this is one of the things that keeps putting me off downloading again. Is just having to sit there and download all the mods I use, because I like to get very immersed in it. Because it's a role playing game, I want to use it to get immersed in the character. So I've got
you want more atmosphere and stuff.
I've got all the nice sound mods. I've got I made the Skyrim look beautiful, and then shaders and all that, and all the like armor and stuff. But it just gets
takes so long.
It's just like sitting there and you're stuck unless you pay for a Nexus Mods like account, like for the premium account. You sat there with a 1 meg download limit, so it's just like takes hours for some of the good mods. I think that's one of the reasons I don't go back to play Oblivion. Well, no, not when you download the mods I download.
I download.
Are the titty mods you downloading like 2 gigs, 1 gig for each breast?
It might be.
Look at that bot mapping.
CBB body model. Nut. That's the thing.
Nut buttons.
I went back to play Oblivion, and I'm just looking at the characters, and I'm like, their head is a literal fucking potato.
Yeah.
Why would they play?
The adoring fan. His head is like an onion.
Fuck the adoring fan.
There was. Mate, there's a dope song that Young Scrolls made for that. Young Scrolls does like these Elder Scrolls like rap / just music videos and songs. And there's a really good one for the adoring fan. And there was a guy running around Comic-Con the other year as the adoring fan. It was great. I was like, oh my God, and I missed him. But my friend's there. She's like, look at all these photos I got with him. It's great.
Going back to you saying you want one of those nut buttons, off topic a bit completely, I've recently been trying to figure out a way to get a soundboard on one of my mobile devices that I can hook into my computer and have it pump through to other people and my recording or streaming. So I've been messing around with soundboards, and I found one that is literally just like... Oh, one sec, let me make it so my phone's actually loud. I put it on silent on the podcasts.
I'm fast as fuck, boy.
But I've just saved loads of them, so it's like...
That is one of my favourite sound effects ever.
And then obviously there's always...
It's free real estate.
Oh man, is that just like an app, or is that one you made?
There's just an app, but there is one that's all complete custom, where it's literally you can just put whatever sound you want into it that I'm probably going to use, so I can just add any sound I want.
We need one to pump into the podcast so we can just inject random sounds.
That I will be able to, because I'll literally...
Just any chance of the views going up, they're just going to hear us with the fucking soundboards like boom.
No.
Turn that shit off.
Oh man.
No, literally all I need to do to get it pumped in, I need to just get the application onto my tablet, and then I'll literally just need an auxiliary cable, because obviously with my... Yeah, so my microphone's using my big-ass mixing desk, but the microphone input, the 3.5mm jack input on the back of my machine, isn't in use. So that's a spare output that I can put in through my audio software internally and just pump it to where I want it to go.
That's mad. It's so overkill.
I can't wait. It's gonna be hilarious. Like, we'll be playing like Armor or something. And it would just be like, I'll just drive past you fast as fuck, boy.
Boys. You then need the Sonic. Just a really high pitch.
Oh, you need running in the 90s.
Oh yeah,
as well.
I've got
my
deja vu on
God.
it at the minute. It just goes. It doesn't
God,
do the song. It literally just goes deja vu, and that's it.
Oh god,
Oh.
there's so much potential just to. It's just gonna be real life shit posting.
Moving
glorious,
back
man.
to then the topic at hand. Funnily enough, it's another Resident Evil thing that
Okay.
I rate quite highly, and it's actually one of their CG movies they did. So they made a series of CG movies, and like the first two like kind of got decent ratings, and then the third one everyone's just like, yeah, the story's piss poor, and the story is weak, but it's got some of the best animated violence in zombie movies I've ever seen, because Leon Kennedy, the lead guy, is literally fucking John Wick to the zombies. It's so fucking. He's doing like.
You killed my fucking dog.
It's like, what is it? I can't remember the name of I can't remember the name of the fighting style that John Wick uses. But it's like that Russian fighting style with his like close quarters gun.
Yeah.
Leon uses that on zombies, and it's like, this is so stupid, but amazing at the same time. Oh, he also kills the big bad guy by driving a Ducati Diavel into him and blowing it up.
That's the only thing you should do with a Ducati Diavel. Don't worry.
What's it called? Probably I don't know if it's an unpopular opinion. I've never really heard many people talk about it, but I must admit some of the best CGI scenes and films or mini films you get are in from video games. I mean, like the League of Legends, some of their animations they do are fucking phenomenal.
Great,
The
like,
Star
amazing.
Wars ones were really good for KOTOR, was it? Was it Knights of the Old Republic?
Yes, they're insane. They could be a film.
Yes.
Yeah, they were really
I
good.
want them to do a film set way back during the Old Republic.
Have you seen
Good luck with that.
the pachinko machines in Japan
Yes.
for Metal Gear Solid 1?
Yes.
And they have all the cutscenes in HD. Why isn't that a thing?
They've done it to all three of the original Metal Gears, and that's what makes it even more annoying. Yeah.
But it's only on pachinko machines. It's like, why? Please release that. That's absolutely insane.
Because
That's the thing with
Kojima
Japan.
are fucking idiots.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's not
pachinko
Kojima.
machine.
It's,
What's
what was
that?
the name? I thought it wasn't. Give me a second.
Ryan's doing some
Capcom?
research.
Who's this for? Sorry. What's this?
I'm not sure what he's.
Kojima's the guy. It was
Konami.
Capcom.
Konami. That's
Konami.
it. Yeah, Kojima's the guy.
Yeah, but Kojima is also a fucking idiot.
He's also an
Yeah.
idiot because
Absolutely.
what was the game? Death Stranding.
Oh,
I've not played it. I've just seen the gameplay. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
mate, me and Danny watched the entire cutscene movie of that fucking stupid bullshit game. Don't get me wrong, I am a Metal Gear Solid fan, so I liked Kojima. This is the key word here. I liked Kojima. Oh my god. I swear to God, that game, just the whole story felt like it was written by like an edgy 14-year-old. And
He's
I'm
56
not...
years old.
Yeah, honestly.
He looks like 12.
It's the thing I find funny. Like everyone always says, "Oh, Kojima is one of the greatest writers of this generation." And when you actually look at what he's written, everyone seems to think he was the main writer for like the Metal Gear games, and he wasn't. He wasn't the main writer. It was other writers that took the reins, and you can tell when it's Kojima. Yeah, you can tell when it's Kojima taking the reins because things just go off the rails for no reason, whereas other people make them go off the
weird.
Yeah,
He's just there trying to turn everything into a delivery game.
Honestly.
What if they were postmen?
Like,
He's
shit,
just
you're
there
not,
like, what if they were postmen?
Don't get me wrong, Death Stranding, like the main premise of the Death Stranding, like I don't know if you guys have watched any of it yet.
I've not seen it. I've been interested in playing it though.
I'll give you just a run. Basically, like there was this big event called the Death Stranding. I can't remember exactly what happens, but it was. I think the gist of it was that there was kind of like a bridging between the worlds of the living and the dead.
Yeah.
And for some reason, there's this thing called timefall. So basically, when it rains, if whatever the water touches, time accelerates for it. So like when it's raining, you'll see plants just growing and dying and growing and dying, and like that was really cool.
That
Obviously,
is
you
a
can't be
really
caught out
cool
in the rain.
concept, yeah.
Yeah, and like you can't be caught out in the rain because you'll just die. Your skin will age and you'll die. That was fucking cool. The stuff of the linking with the kind of world of the dead, really cool. Like it's even things like when people die, they decay into this like black tarry stuff, and then basically, I can't remember exactly because it's been a few months since I watched it. It was like before Christmas, but like basically they have to incinerate bodies because if they don't, they explode with like almost the akin of a small nuclear explosion. So they're having to literally like whenever anyone dies, they have to drive them through all this dangerous terrain, through all the weird like ghosts and the time falls to literally just incinerate bodies. That side of the story was fucking wicked, but
Norman Reedus.
then it turned into Norman Reedus and the Funky Fetus, and fucking like, and it was just like the story just got stupider and stupider, and it got to the point. There was literally a bit where like, and I shit you not, there's a character in it called Amelie, and this is maybe a slight spoiler, but not really. But like, I can't. To be honest, she's meant to be like this. She's an embodiment of an extinction event, I think. She's supposed to be like an extinction event is an entity, and she is like a physical embodiment of that. But literally, like she's explaining who she is, and she's like, "My name's Amelie. Amam, which means soul, and lie, which means lie. I am a soul that's a lie." And it's like, oh my god, Kojima, like.
This is literally one of those things where you just want to.
Are familiar.
Yeah, it's like.
It's literally where you just want to just grab Kojima, pull him to one side, and say, "Okay, Kojima, sit down, take your medication, let the big boys do the lifting."
And that's just one example. There were so many moments in the story like that, and it's just like.
It just makes you think of that meme where it's like they're like, "So how are we gonna get our sales up?" And that guy just says something in the corner and
gets
Kojima's
thrown out the window.
Him out the window.
Yeah, but that's what frustrated me because it had me. The story was initially interesting enough that it did get me hooked.
Yeah,
and then there was just no payoff. It was just this stupid, convoluted story. That
isn't it literally?
Nonsense.
Isn't the game literally just Norman Reedus hired by Deliveroo?
Basically,
kind of, but what was it? Shit, I can't even remember why.
It looked the gameplay as well.
There was a reason why they. Oh, he has something where they call it a chiral allergy, and basically, like, he has an allergy where he can detect where these weird ghost things are, and only a few people have it. But it makes them useful as delivery people because they can stay away from the dangerous areas, basically, or they know when something bad's going to happen, or so, like, it's been a while. And I'm probably explaining it really.
Deus Ex gameplay, basically.
Yeah, basically, but like, it's a shame because the environments of the game look really cool. The general premise of what's happened to the world was really interesting, but then they just Kojima had to just. It was the whole game was just Kojima furiously masturbating all over himself. Oh, look how creative I am, and that's what, and that was so abundantly clear the whole fucking time. Like that, like, oh, this is getting interesting. Oh, he's doing it again. Oh,
to be honest, I then imagine that the gameplay is like when your doctor's going to give you a rectal examination, but both his hands are on your shoulders.
Yeah,
you just see the gameplay and you're just like, how is this enjoyable? Like, who's the mad fucker who actually was able to play the whole game?
You know, I really
their mind to get that cutscene movie for you. He needs a medal. Goddammit!
I really feel sorry for the playtesters. I really feel sorry for the playtesters because.
Yeah, they must have been put up against the wall and shot every time they told them the gameplay's shit because they didn't.
Well, this is the thing. A lot of the time, playtesters aren't there to say like whether it's a shit game or not. They're literally there to make sure it's functional. And the issue is, a lot of the time, it's everyone says like, oh, it's a dream job being able to be a QA tester, but after working in the gaming industry and seeing what they have to do. It's not. It's so repetitive, and you play the game so goddamn much.
You're there to make sure it doesn't break. You're there to try it.
But it's why a lot of people, they'll do a QA testing job to help get them into the gaming industry. They'll do the QA testing to then moving to another section of the industry.
Yeah.
It's just like, really? Come on. I feel sorry for those guys. Continuing on this kind of thread where we're thinking of like games that other people like masturbate over and love that we dislike.
Okay.
Trying to think like, do you have any games like that?
Yes. Many.
Uh,
Let me think. Games that I've played. I definitely got some. I was even thinking of one earlier because originally, when I couldn't think of a game that I like that people don't, I was thinking there's.
I've got one that's kind of a 50-50 both ways for me, which is.
Go on.
I know I've got them, but I can't think of any.
Kingdom Hearts 3. So I fucking loved the Kingdom Hearts series. Both me and my wife loved playing them through for the stories, and when Kingdom Hearts 3 was finally coming out, we literally went and got all of the other games and literally marathoned all of them on the lead up to Kingdom Hearts 3. And then we finished Kingdom Hearts 3, literally took days off work to play it through, sat at the credit screen, I just there like, was that underwhelming for you as well? And she's like, yep. And so many people like say, oh, it's a brilliant story, the way they did it is perfect, and I'm just there like, but it's not. The writing is literally someone writing to try and make the next stuff sound good. It's like, no, I don't want the next game to be sounding good. I want you to make this game sound good and make this game good. The gameplay is
gonna
great.
Make a next game?
Yeah,
I can think of a few actually. Sorry, I've just. Oh, go on.
No, you on with yours game now.
I've just thought of a few actually. Borderlands, don't get it. A game I just couldn't enjoy, just could not get into it.
Ooh, I'm the opposite on that. I love Borderlands, so
I tried it. I remember Danny got it for my birthday on 360, and I tried it. I was just like, I just don't like this.
Yeah, the first one's nowhere near as good as the others.
Two's good. I couldn't play
great.
it like single player. I couldn't play it single player though. I had to play it with friends. But enjoy to playing it with friends.
Yeah.
What was the other? I just thought of another one.
You got any Ryan while he's waiting?
Yeah, go on. I'll remember it.
I honestly, I'm just saying. I know I've got games which I like absolutely shit on, but I can't think of them.
Another one. Now, I don't dislike this game, but I think it gets way too much praise. Even though I do really like it, and I like the kind of lore and the atmosphere, and that's the Stalker games. Don't get me wrong, really cool games, but fuck me, is it? Because like I have played them. And I did enjoy them, but in order to enjoy them, you have to mod them to absolute oblivion.
No, you don't.
No,
I'm gonna fight you.
No, here's what I
Call of Privia is one of the best games ever.
It was a cool game, but one thing I think was the most retarded function in any FPS I've ever played, and that was RNG-based accuracy on guns.
Oh,
I remember I was
that.
inside. I was in a building. There was a zombie about 10 meters in front of me, scoped in with an AK, fire, and I remember I was like, what the fuck? Fired again, and as I scoped out as I fired, and I shit you not, the bullet would have had to have left the barrel at like a 50-degree angle, and it hit the wall next to me. But there's a mod to remove that, and once it was fixed, I really enjoyed it, but that was one of the most fucking annoying features of that game.
I'm loving the comment in the chat. The comment in the chat is literally a guy saying, ah, yes, Stalker, the only game where you have to go to the highest difficulty to have an easy game.
Yeah. Because it's like, it's one of those games where just difficulty ramps up damage. It increases damage and reduces health. So it's like, if you play it on easy, okay, you've got a lot of health, but you also have a BB gun with the spring out of a biro to try and kill people. You may as well throw the bullets for all the good it does. So yeah, he's absolutely right. You've got to play it on a higher difficulty if you want to play it.
Turning it.
Hang on, he's right. He's absolutely right.
Stalker though. That's one of my love. Like we're talking about originally.
I love
that's
it.
one of my loves. People hate on it.
I don't hate it. I really, really do like it, and I love the whole like the vibe and the atmosphere. But speaking from a mechanics point of view, I fucking hate it. I think some of the mechanics are really poorly done. And I just remembered, before I forget, we'll come back to that in a sec. I've just remembered the other one, a game that I just don't get why it's so popular, is Team Fortress 2. I just don't get it.
I'm of the same way with that. Same. I completely agree with you there.
It's very clean. It's a very clean game. It plays very well. You know, it's a Valve game. It is good, but I don't understand why people rave about it and how it got so popular, because it's a completely average game.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, because I've tried to play it. I think I've tried to get into it about 4 or 5 times now, and multiple times I've tried to get into it, and like I've tried to get my friends who enjoyed playing it to join me and help me out in understanding it, and I'm just there like I just don't get this. But like
and
I remember
to the new hero shooters as well, things like Overwatch and stuff like that. I just don't get them.
See, I do like Overwatch. I do like Overwatch.
Sir, can I say something, sir?
Go on, Ryan. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I used to play a lot of Team Fortress 2.
Okay.
And I think Team Fortress 2 is actually the way that I actually know a majority of my friends is due to Team Fortress 2. So I think my love for that game wasn't it wasn't down to like the game actually being any good, because
it's the social.
But I love that. I absolutely love that Fujiwara Tofu Shop phone case.
The
continue.
The game isn't that good, and I will admit that. But I think why people hold it in such high regard is because the community within the game is a hell of a lot more popular than it is in other games. Like, if I was to try and talk to people on Call of Duty, a majority of the time you get some fucking whiny little
I fucked your mom. I fucked your mom.
I met my current friends that I go to Comic-Con with. The only reason I know any of them is because I started talking. Me and one of my old friends started talking to a guy on Team Fortress 2, and we're playing. We then get into a Skype. From that, obviously, we all become friends, and we start Skyping. Then some of their friends join, and you learn everything. I think that's where at least mine, and I think a fair few other people would probably say that their love of that game, especially, is because of the community.
Yeah.
And then the reason Overwatch is so good is because it's that, but with waifus. There we go.
Yeah,
fair enough.
So
yeah,
I mean, that's the only reason I bought it and spent
the amount of Overwatch porn I see
on boxes.
I can't argue that logic.
I spent an extraordinary amount of money on Overwatch loot boxes, and I hate myself for doing it. Really bad.
I think I spent because I played it up until just after the first Halloween event, and I remember they unveiled the Mercy Witch skin. And I remember just like, I want that skin. And I must have. I think
look at that skin.
Well, I put about maybe at the time, which was expensive for me. I put about 15 quid worth of loot boxes in it, and I didn't get that skin at all.
Rookie numbers.
I got so pissed off, but that was all I could afford at the time.
Oh man!
And I was so annoyed. I mean, moving to a game that I remember really enjoying again, that one was quite obscure and not many people liked, was a game called Monday Night Combat.
Okay. Oh!
So it was
that was great.
It was an Xbox Live arcade one that I played, and it was obviously on Steam as well. And it was literally, it was an arena type shooter where there was.
It was like a MOBA, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was basically like a MOBA. You had minions would go through. You could buy turrets and upgrade them, and then you also could upgrade your character that you was playing. So you had basically your primary fire. You had 2 abilities usually, and then there was like a passive, and it was literally based off like it was a big, really over extravagant game show. So everything you would do would earn you money, and you used money to upgrade yourself or turrets.
Your characters were similar to the kind of architect of the Team Fortress 2 characters as well. So you had your engineer, your heavy, so you had all those characters. I really enjoyed that game, and that wasn't big enough. They made a second game.
They had another one which was Monday Night Combat something else, which was a free-to-play one that it leaned a bit more into the MOBA side of things, and it was on Steam.
Yeah.
And I remember I played it. Let me Google that.
Let me check.
I played that game so much just because they had like commentators that were so like overbearingly like American style commentating, like, oh, he's gonna feel that one in the morning kind of thing.
I
but
love
like
that.
you'd just be an assassin that's like just stabbed a guy in the face, kind of thing.
Yeah, that reminds me of 2 games. Time Splitters. That had the whole headshot lobotomy. I fucking loved that. Is a game that deserves a sequel.
I worked with a lot of those people who made Time Splitters, and they're all very nice guys.
But did you say the company you worked for? Some of them were from IDOS, weren't they? Was it IDOS?
My boss worked.
Naughty Dog.
Yeah, my boss worked with the original Tomb Raider team. And if we wouldn't mind just going to a quick segue,
go on.
I remember him telling me a story that always makes me laugh. So I'm not going to say names because obviously names.
No.
He was on about how this was at the time where all the basic guys who made Tomb Raider turned into millionaires overnight. Company had exploded. I think it was during maybe the 2nd or 3rd game. He had a company car at the time as well, and when he was looking at what they was trying to offer him in the tax bracket for his company car, the tax bracket above had the brand new, at the time, Subaru WRX, and he really wanted that one. And he had a back and forth with the finance guy at the company at the time, like, yeah, I want to get the WRX, but I know it's above the tax bracket, so I don't mind paying the extra tax. It's fine. It's only an extra 40 quid, so I'm fine with that. But it wouldn't, and there was this back and forth like for apparently like a week or so, and eventually, he was talking to one of the bigger boss guys who basically ran the place, who made the original kind of Tomb Raider thing, and they was having a meeting about something. He was like, "Oh, you haven't picked your car yet?" He was like, "Yeah, because I want to get the WRX, but Mr. Finance isn't letting me. He's not letting me pay the extra tax." Give me a minute. Mr. Finance, can you just come to this office, please? Okay. Yeah. He comes in. He goes, Why aren't you letting Mr. Man have the WRX? Oh, it's out of the tax bracket and it will cause him too much money hardships. And he goes, "But I'm the fucking boss, so why aren't you just doing it?" And he starts like, Mr. Finance starts like trying to do all this like a roundabout finance explanation away, and Mr. Boss literally just goes, "Did you know that you're a cunt?" Literally just in the middle of this office, just literally outright, "Did you know that you're a cunt?" It's just like, it's like,
all this man wants is his JDM nuggets.
Yeah,
let him have it, goddammit.
Literally just one of these Subaru, and it was like 2 weeks later, got the Subaru.
Nice.
Oh, that's glorious, man.
That's
I'm
justice,
happy he got his
guys.
car.
That's true justice.
It's just like
Not
brilliant thing.
Euro shit.
But
I would love another Time Splitters game, but I doubt it's going to happen anytime soon.
apparently, there was a team that was making it in CryEngine, and but it's been shut down.
Yep.
No,
I've seen
it
was a fan-made thing that has been shut down because the IP is still in use, even though there's not had any releases. The IP is still in use.
Which is a shame.
I hate that. It's so bad. It's like give
Nintendo
these guys
are bad for that as well.
The issue with it is I have insider knowledge on it that I'm not allowed to talk about because of NDAs that I'm still under. And it's one of those things where I understand why they shut this stuff down, because at the end of the day, if
it's still theirs, they still own it.
It's still an owned IP, and it's one of those things where even if they're not making anything under that IP, if someone decides to make this mod and it starts picking up traction, and people are enjoying it, it's one of those things where what if that mod and that game that they're making that's free and is a remake turns out better than anything we might make in future? It's one of those things that can just really tank a company's kind of image. So that's why they do it.
But that did happen with Nintendo and Sonic.
What, did it?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, no. Well, I'm pretty sure they bought the guy out like really fast, and they were like, "Yo, we'll get you to do this," because there was Sonic Mania, which is now on the Switch, which is quite possibly one of the greatest new generation
the greatest
Sonic
one,
games, because it's Sonic, and they released just after it. They released like
Sonic Forces, which I've got free on PlayStation Plus, where I can literally make a fucking monocle wearing, gun wielding hero.
I'm like, we don't want 3D Sonic, we want 2D side scrolling Sonic, where you get the momentum of running to get that speed and play the game.
Yeah.
And And I'm so glad they picked this guy up and they were like, yo, we'll get him to do this because we know that this other game we're making is going to be a pile of wank.
I think that's
And
a
they
good way
got
to do
him
it,
in,
though.
made it really well.
Well, the guys who made
There's not enough people who do that.
Yeah, the guys who made the Sonic game, they all got hired because they were modding the original Sonic ROMs.
Yeah.
So they got hired because they were making these cool custom levels in the ROMs. From what I remember, I might not be 100% true on that one though. But
well, then they were
fans.
making Mania as well because they were like, we're going to turn this into our own kind of like fan game, and they picked it up and obviously I mean, I bought that and I love it, and I've not even completed it yet. Like, I'll go back to it, and I'm like, this is great.
A few friends I've got who have always been massive Sonic fans, and they've hated some of the stuff that Team Sonic has done to Sonic. And then there was like Sonic Mania came out, and it was like a breath of fresh air.
My first ever like console we had in my house that I can remember. Well, second, the first one was I think it was a Commodore, but my mum and dad took that in a skip, which I will never forgive them for.
That's a shame.
That is a fucking tragedy.
Mate, honestly, we had fucking trays like this wide and that long, full of floppy disks of games, all just fucking scrapped.
Yeah,
they're worth so much now.
I know
it happened a lot. It happens with a lot of things.
I won't get rid of it. I wouldn't have got rid of that if I'd known. And because I went to them, I said, "What happened to that?" And they're like, "Oh, we binned it because there wasn't enough space." I was like,
"What?
Wait,
I mean, how much are they now? You tell your story while I'm looking."
But the first memorable console, luckily, which we still have, is the Sega Mega Drive.
Yes, that was my first ever console. That was my first console.
We have Sonic on that. Sonic. I got Sonic 2 on it. Sonic.
Did you play Road Rash?
No.
Oh, Road Rash was good. You can play it in browser now. It's great.
But then
just a quick intermission. Commodore C64 retro console on eBay, £85. Just the console.
That's not bad.
See, but then we had Golden Axe, Streets of Rage.
Streets of Rage was badass, and they've just had number 4 come out, haven't they?
The soundtrack for Streets of Rage, the OG, was great, absolutely awesome. And then there was another. Oh, Shinobi we had on there, but I didn't really like Shinobi. But the Sega.
Don't fucking lie, you weeb. You loved Shinobi.
I didn't like the gameplay. But Sonic, that was like one of that and Mario, of course, were like one of the big first games I got. Because then the first handheld I got was a Game Boy, original Game Boy, off my uncle with Mario. Is it Superland?
Super Mario Land?
Super Mario Land, I think
Super Mario Land will be it,
We had the original Mario, and then like the next one, which was like you were going around collecting stars and shit.
See, it's one thing that I've always... Sorry to interrupt, but it's one thing that I've always think it's like... I'm not saying Mario isn't like a big thing and it's not good games. They are some of the greatest platforming games out there. I just don't care.
It's not that good.
It's just an old IP at this point, isn't it?
I didn't even really care back in the day. Yeah, I didn't even really care back in the day, though. It was just like, yeah, okay, good games. I just don't give a shit.
The only thing I'd say I care about Mario content-wise is Mario Kart. I think Mario Kart's one of... the amount of... I think it's not... The problem is like Mario Kart, the only thing with that is like the only reason I think it's a good game is because of the laughs and the fun you can have with your friends playing.
It's a good party game.
I can remember New Year's parties. We'd go to like our friend's auntie's house. And she had like they lived in this massive like big house, but they lived up in the top of it, but they've got like parts of it rented out, just like some big stately home, which was like flats. But they got downstairs and the cellar rented out, and we're all there. GameCube, Mario Kart. Fucking love that. There's so many good memories of us playing Mario Kart at parties, especially New Year's parties. I can remember.
Yeah, when I say I don't get Mario, it's the single player like jumping ones I don't understand. Mario Party and Mario Kart are fucking amazing games.
Party's good. I
will say, I really, really liked Super Mario Sunshine. That was a really fun game. It's just a 3D platformer.
Isn't that the one that makes you feel like emotions for a fucking machine?
For a spray bottle.
Because he's got the little spray
for a spray bottle, for what is essentially an empty bottle of Domestos.
But then
Donald Trump's favourite.
There's what's the other Mario game that's just come out? The hat one.
Odyssey.
Odyssey.
I
I've got
want to get
That's
that for our
definitely worth a
Switch.
play.
That's
Definitely
what I
worth a
want to
play.
get, but it's still too expensive at the moment. But I'll pick it up when it gets a bit cheaper. But that's
The
what I
problem
want to
it'll
play.
take
Kind
ages
of-
to lower in price.
Kind of moving to another thing from Nintendo. So I literally last night or this morning, I can't remember, just finished Zelda Breath of the Wild.
You finished it.
Banger.
I've still
Just-
not finished it. I've had
just
it for
finished it.
3 years.
So-
I've still not completed it.
I've just finished it, and absolutely fucking amazing game. I can understand why it gets all its praise, all its awards. The music is fucking brilliant.
Absolutely, just the whole sound design.
Beautiful
everything.
sound design.
But the controls are fucking jank.
I thought they were all right. They're not great, but
They're
they're
not
not
the best.
terrible.
Could be
The
better.
controls are jank. Some design choices are fucking infuriating.
Such
So,
as-
climbing when it rains, why the fuck is there not something I can put on which removes the slipping?
that effect.
Because
Yeah, that is annoying.
fuck that effect entirely.
Crap.
And the ending fell flat to me, personally. Because
Yeah, I
Don't
must
say
say-
too much. I've still not completed this game.
yes, it's fair, but like the
Yeah.
big boss at the end,
Hold up.
there's two phases. So there's two phases to the big boss. The first phase I really enjoyed because it made me use a lot of the mechanics that you've
It was
learned
hard.
throughout the game. I found it easy personally. I found it
I'm
really
happy.
quite easily. But like it made me use the things that I've learned, which I enjoyed.
Yeah,
Second phase was literally it was a fucking
Just to
on
hit
it was
him.
just waiting around pretty much, and then
yeah. It's
I was
literally point and click.
really expecting a bit more story at the end of it, and one thing that really
Yeah.
annoys me that I really wish they should have done, even if it was an added DLC, why the fuck can I not go around after the story?
Yes. Oh my god, yes. Well, here's the problem: is that I mean, like, I don't know which Zeldas you guys have played before.
That's
Breath of the Wild.
that's the only Zelda I've
What about
played
you,
because
Ryan?
I never cared.
I've played. I bought Ocarina of Time because I went back and I started to flesh out my Nintendo collection. So I bought a Nintendo 64 and I've got Ocarina
Yeah,
of
I've got
Time.
it.
I've not played that all the way through.
I'm a long time Zelda fan. I think I've been playing them since about 2000 when I
One
played.
game I've actually played and completed was Phantom Hourglass. Well, I got to the very end,
Hourglass.
but
There's a
didn't complete
handheld
it.
one.
Handheld DS game.
I didn't
other
play
than
many of the
didn't interest me
handhelds.
that much. I think the open world one was the only one. Obviously, Breath of the Wild was the only one that kind of brought me in because I prefer that game style, like open
Yeah.
world.
Well, I mean,
what
like,
I'm hyped for is Open Breath of the Wild 2. I want to see where they go with that.
yes, yeah. I think they will improve on the feedback that they'll have gotten from number one. Because again, I am a huge Zelda fanboy. I've been playing them for. I think the first one I played was Ocarina of Time. Then I played every 3D one since then. So I played Majora's Mask. I played Wind Waker, Twilight Princess. Yes, lad.
I got this. I got the collector's edition. I've got the art book and everything.
Yeah.
I got this on Game Boy and I played it a little bit, but couldn't really get into it because it was just like going
To
back
be
to an old.
honest,
But
they-
I'm at the last boss on this, and I've not touched it since, so I've still got to complete that. But
unless you're really after the lore, at least in my experience, you can skip the handheld ones. I've only really I did play Oracle of Sages, I think.
yeah.
Was it Oracle of Ages?
This-
I can't remember its name.
This is literally like listening to a different language to me because I've
Okay,
just never
but
been a
you're not-
fan.
But what I was going to say is, so I've played all the 3D ones, and I loved all of them except for Skyward Sword, which was it's the only 3D one I haven't finished. I started playing it. I got it before Breath of the Wild and everything, and I just didn't like it. The story was all right. The controls are fucking dreadful, absolutely just appallingly. And it doesn't have-
That was a Wii game, though, wasn't it?
they forced you. Well, the thing is, though, I played.
Is that the one where they
Twilight
forced you
Princess
to use the Wii to
the
attack?
Wii Motion Plus. The Wii Motion Plus, and
It's just more of this, more really, isn't it? So
well, the thing is though, with Twilight Princess, you can just because that used just Wii controls, and that was fine. You could attack by just going, and that was fine. Whereas this one, you actually had to you had to really do it in a particular way, and if you didn't, fuck you, basically. 'Cause
Yeah.
you can't play. But
well, I think there's a few things like with Zelda where it literally is fuck you. I mean, the biggest fuck you in Breath of the Wild is the fucking Korok seeds.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there's 650 of these things. How about fuck you and give me a better way of increasing my inventory?
Yeah.
They don't add anything to me. They don't add any interesting gameplay element apart from the ones where it's like the puzzle element where it's like, oh, look, there's a hole there and there's a rock up there. Let's just put, oh, cool, I've got something. Whereas some of them is just, oh, I picked up a rock. Make it so there's less of them, but all of them have some kind of small, little, intriguing puzzle in the world. That'd be so much better.
Yeah.
But what
I enjoyed that part of it, like the puzzle part. But like I say, the ones where you just find them in the rocks, you kind of like.
Oh, okay. I found it, I guess.
I'm cool with the ones where you climb high towers as well. They're cool because it's kind of like you climbed all this way up, which isn't an easy task in that game. So it's like I do
you
understand
go out of your
those
way
ones.
somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, what was you going to say?
I was going to say, like, what annoyed me about I say it annoyed me, I didn't like, and it didn't make it a bad game, but what I didn't like about Breath of the Wild is if you've played any of the other 3D Zeldas, they all followed the same pattern of 3 dungeons, mid-game boss, or some big event in the middle, 3 dungeons, final boss. And they've always followed that pattern. Ocarina of Time, well, they all did it as far as I can tell. And then Breath of the Wild just had 3 dungeons in any order you can play, and then a final boss, and that's it.
4 dungeons.
You did have mini dungeons.
Oh,
though,
sorry,
didn't you?
4.
Four.
Sorry,
so it was the 4 protectors, which I'm
Yeah,
sure they
but
got that
I
from
didn't
the
like that.
Odyssey to the West story, that Chinese philosophy
Yeah,
novel or
possibly.
something.
But I really didn't like that.
There is the shrines as well, but they're like just
The
mini
shrines were
dungeons.
good, and they replaced the kind of puzzle sections that you'd find in the dungeons in the previous
Yeah.
ones. But
Definitely.
I do like that. Like, again, like I'm not saying it's a bad game for it, but as a Zelda fan, like format was so ingrained in me that like I just did those 4 dungeons, and I was just like, oh, and then I did the final boss, and it was just like, oh, okay. I mean, granted, I did have a lot of time to go explore and love the world, and I did. I mean, it's still a fucking absolute masterpiece of a game, in my opinion. So good. But like, if you go back and play, like, you've got your N64, Ryan. Funnily enough, a year or 2 ago, I got another N64 because I don't know what happened to our old one, and I replayed Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. And I will say, even now, they play relatively well. The only thing that really holds them back is the controls, because obviously we're so used to the whole dual analog sticks.
Yeah.
The only
you
reason
kind of get tripped up on that a bit.
The only reason I kind of hold off playing it is in completing it on there and actually playing like Ocarina of Time is because my controller I got with the console when I bought it wasn't very good, so I need to go out and get another one.
Yeah.
I just don't have the space for it. Like, I've got a big Tupperware box. I have these big Tupperware boxes under my bed, and it's full of consoles.
Porn.
I've got so many handhelds. Well, there will be one of those at some point. I think that's this. I've got such an obsession with collecting the Nintendo consoles and the Nintendo gear. I think it's just like it's my childhood. It's always been there. So it's always going to be something I really adore, like the Pokemon games. That is actually a game. Back to the kind of main topic, which is the games that people hated on. Sword and Shield. Everyone hated on them because they weren't what they could have been, what we were after. And yeah, don't get me wrong, they aren't. But I fucking really enjoy those games. And I got to the league just before the league, but I was like, do you know what? I'm going to do this again, but do it differently. So I just
do a Nuzlocke.
Cut my game, started again. I didn't do a Nuzlocke, but I was just like, I want to play it differently to how I played it when I first got it. And I'm one of those sad bastards who waited 12 goddamn hours in the cold in London for that goddamn store. Missed multiple trains, but that's how much I love those games because they are my
fair enough.
And I think even though people will shit on, like, obviously Sword and Shield, I'll still love them, like, just as any of the other games.
Yeah.
And I was one of those people who shat on Black and White in Black and White 2, but I actually went back and bought Black. I think it was all white. I got white, and I played that, and I'm actually keen to get on and play it again because it's actually better than you think. And there's a lot of people who shit on it for no reason, and I really need to get white 2 or Black 2, but I can't find them anywhere. And like, if anybody anywhere finds them and they've got a copy, I will take it off their hands because I really want them. It's like, again, I'm a bit of a collector with that kind of shit.
Well,
but those are two games that just got shat on for no reason. I was like, why?
Yeah. Well, seeing as we are nearing to a close, one thing I did want to just quickly touch on is, so obviously we've talked a lot about games and movies and things like that, but there's one thing I did want to quickly touch, which was aspects of games just in general that you wish were just fucking standard across the board. So I'm currently replaying Mass Effect, and I really, really want all games that have like an inventory system which you can sell items or customize items or things like that. All games need to have an option to mass select items for selling or customizing or combining.
Preach it.
Because I'm sick and tired of, in Mass Effect at the minute, where I'm going to a salesman. Luckily, the inventory is only 150 large, but I'm going to a salesman with a load of shit that I need to sell. I'm literally just having to sit there, and all you hear is just tapping A to sell everything. And it's just give me an option in the inventory where I can just mark it for junk.
All.
Yeah, mark it
or
for junk.
A slider bar.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Bethesda games do that. They'll have like you can sell a quantity.
Yeah, you slide. Yeah. That was a really good function.
Yeah, that is cool. But I think one of the best things I liked is, I know you didn't really like Borderlands, but Borderlands is a really cool function where in your inventory, because obviously you get a load of shit that you can get.
Yeah.
You can literally mark the objects, so you can have it starred as a favourite. So if you do sell all, it won't sell that one, or you can mark it as a junk, and you can literally one button press sells all your junk. It's like, that is one of the best functions.
That's cool,
that's the crafting ability on Animal Crossing, the new one.
Yes,
that's the reason I don't play it as much. Is because that's
I didn't realize you had it, Ryan.
I got it a couple of weeks ago.
I'm gonna
thingy, and I was like,
I'm gonna take a guess. I know exactly what you're gonna complain about crafting in bulk, and that is fishing bait. Is it fishing bait? No.
I want to make those goddamn leaf umbrellas. Sell them off for a win. No, I just find the whole crafting.
It's all about the profit.
It's all about money.
Yeah. That's what that game's about, really. It's stock markets and selling.
Isn't Tim Nook actually just a loan shark?
Yes.
Somebody just insert Donald Trump's art of the deal into my hands right now.
Yeah.
That really pisses me off, because I would have played that game a hell of a lot more if it was easier for me to do those daily jobs, because my friends, they play it daily. And I'm just I can't get behind sitting there and playing it daily, because it just feels like a mobile game.
But like with the fishing bait, the annoying thing is, because you've got to just collect the manila clams on the beach, and you've just got to dig them up. That in itself is tedious, because you've just got to run around, wait for that little thing to appear, dig it up. But then once you've got them all, you literally have to go through like 4 menus for every one that you want to craft. So you literally sat there spamming A, and I shit you not, I think I was stood there for about half an hour the one day just doing it, because I was just crafting them, digging them up, crafting them, and it's just like everyone's just saying, please add craft multiple.
Yeah.
And I hope they had it.
I hope they put it in an update. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a great game, but I think it's overhyped. A lot of that is overhyped. I don't think it's
really
as good.
Enjoy it.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, like, it's not a bad game, but I think there's a lot of features which have been missed out, which should have been in there.
It is actually a really basic game. Like, it's even things like a first-person mode would be cool. I was saying this to Danny whenever we were playing it. Like, it's a really cool game. It's very pretty, but it's still in like 2009 for the actual mechanics. It's not. It's even things like you can't have more than one save on one console. You can't have more than one town.
Games they shouldn't be allowed to do that anymore. At the end of the day, we are way past the technology to be able to have more than one save. Yeah. It's ridiculous when they don't allow it.
The limitation previously was because obviously they used to be on cartridges on things like DS games. Back then, fair enough, it was the limitation of the hardware. But that's a digital download on a console with gigabytes and gigabytes of storage. There is no fucking reason why I shouldn't be able to have my own town whilst Danny has her own town. But you can't do that, and I think there's no Nintendo is smart enough to do that.
Part of the deal. Insert part of the deal here.
Oh, thank you very
That's
much.
what it is. It's Nintendo. They're like Trump side here.
Oh, it's hot. Oh,
Because it's the same with Pokemon. You can only have one save per game.
yeah,
And that's
and
why
Yeah,
I
it's
was
so
really
stupid.
keen to get the pre-order, so I got both the Pokemon games. Again, really
Yeah.
sad.
So it
But
literally
it's-
means only
So I
the
can do
main
an
player.
on-game save.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it means only the main player on that game can actually have the full experience. We share a town, but I'm not allowed to build bridges. I'm not allowed to relocate buildings. I'm not allowed to do loads of the stuff. But it's like I shouldn't
You're a
have to buy my own.
second-class citizen here.
I said, yeah, I am. It's like I shouldn't have to do that. I should be allowed to have my own
Yeah.
cave.
At the end of the day, you've paid for the game. You should be able to have full functionality across anything
At least
you want.
2 people, at
Yeah.
the very least.
But I think
What's it called? Nintendo just like this to you. They're like, shh, and then they just take your wallet off you. Just like, thank you. That's ours now.
Yeah. Well,
I think I know we're hitting time now, but I
Yeah.
just want to. We've had these up behind us, and
Go
we've
on.
not said anything about them
because
And
we're not
Kyle's
allowed
got
to.
his.
Because we're not allowed to.
We
But things that we're not allowed, people think are shit, but are actually really good. And I've got a nice selection here, and I think people will probably shit on these. It's Ninja
What are you
Scroll,
buying?
Ninja Scroll the movie, which is an absolute piece of art, but
It's called hentai,
bizarre.
and it's art.
It's art. Trinity 7 again, basically hentai. High School of the Dead, it's basically hentai.
Yeah.
Sword Art Online, actually quite good. He's just not the Black Sword.
Know your place, trash.
Know your place. Read Berserk now. That's it. I'm done. Close.
Okay.
Close.
Well, obviously
Shut him
we've
down,
come-
boys.
Yeah, he's done. He needs his nightcap now.
Oh man.
Gonna sleep.
Yeah, so we're gonna close off for the day. So if you've got any questions for us or any subjects you'd like for us to discuss in a future podcast, or if there's any information that we talked about that we got wrong and you want to correct us, drop us an email at contextneededpodcast@gmail.com. We all look at it. We all have access to it, so we can always see if you've got any questions. But from me, Ollie and Ryan, if you want to say goodbye.
Read Berserk now. Read Berserk.
I'm Ollie Evans, and if you look very carefully, I still am.
Well, I'm Kyle, so we're going to be back on Wednesday at the same time at 9 PM GMT, so come and tune in again. So thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you later.